and I call on Deputy Michael Martin. Deputy Martin, you have 3 minutes.
Thank you indeed. I'll ask Ceann Comhairle. Taoiseach, St Gabriels Special School in Bishopstown in Cork provides education for 43 special needs children with a very severe and profound diagnosis with autism. So intellectual disability with autism, probably the most severe and profound in the system, being catered for in education. These are children who should be our #1 priority, but they're being neglected by the government in terms of their need for a new school building. The parents say, and have said, that we feel forgotten. The existing school building has huge issues. It's substandard. Bathrooms not big enough to fit in wheelchairs, no hot running water, leaking roof, no dedicated toilets for children with medical needs, lack of infection control. The sensory room is in an outbuilding, windowless outbuilding, and I could go on. The parents are now crowdfunding for 200,000. So parents of a school of 43 severe and profound are going out there now to raise €200,000 to basically make the school habitable, to carry out some repairs. Now that school is illustrative of many other schools across the country, both special schools and mainstream primary schools across the country, because parents all over the country are raising money to keep schools going in terms of day-to-day expenditure. The capitation grant, quite simply, is not anywhere near sufficient to meet the costs of running a school. According to the Chief Inspector's report, spending per pupil in Ireland is less than the European Union or OECD average, and according to a recent Grant Thornton report, the capitation grant now covers about 52% of the cost of running a school, and depending on small, medium or large. But in all cases, we're looking at situations where the capitation is way below what is actually necessary. I think the average capitation grant of 46,000 in 2016 was clearly insufficient to meet the average general expenditure costs of about 91,000. This is the heating, all the basic operational costs. Voluntary schools at secondary level are in a similar situation. Visited a number of secondary level schools recently. Maintenance costs, big issue for them, and an inability to have the day-to-day resources to meet that. Now, Taoiseach, the programme for government has a commitment to multi-annual increases in capitation grants and funding for schools under a number of headings, but it hasn't been implemented. Now, last year we did force the government on the pupil-teacher ratio as part of confidence and supply, but the government was resistant on capitation for some reason. And I would say there are 3 ways that could bring some ease to schools. One is to have a commit in the next budget to a phased increase in the capitation rate for schools. 2, that the minor works grant scheme would be a permanent feature as a non-discretionary payment by government paid out to the schools, and that statutory would be provided for as an annual, not just if we may do it next year, we might do it the following year. And similarly, summer work schemes should be annual and should be fixed, so that schools could plan with some degree of certainty as to income that would help them to meet the day-to-day running costs, repair costs and maintenance costs of schools. Actually, we put our priorities into the confidence and supply. And the reduction in pupil-teacher ratio wouldn't have happened if it wasn't put into the confidence and supply. And you guys resisted it, just as you resisted the National Treatment Purchase Fund. Likewise with postgraduate grants, you guys resisted that. We put that into the confidence and supply. And the same in terms of career guidance, ex-quota career guidance counsellors. There would have been no movement on career guidance counselling in this country if I didn't insist that that went in to the confidence and supply agreement, despite your objections. But Taoiseach, I'm not interested in a tit-for-tat between who does what better, because the pupils or the parents of the 43 kids who are severe and profound diagnosis of intellectual disability with autism, they don't want the 10 billion figure thrown at them. They want a new school. They want a sense that somebody is listening to them, is aware of them. Because right now, they have no such sense. I've met them. And that's the problem, Taoiseach. This isn't about a debating chamber saying, I'll do it better than you'll do it. This is about responding to real need that is out there. Last week, there was a publication of a list of, I don't know how many, 42 new schools. There's 2 announced in Cork that no one knows. No one went looking for. Yet this school is around for 3 or 4 years looking for a new school building. It's on no goddamn list. Do you understand the frustration, Taoiseach, that parents have out on the ground when they're faced with this kind of a juxtaposition of fantasy lists being published? We're going to build a new school somewhere in 3 or 4 years' time, and we can't even get around to having habitable conditions for children who are diagnosed with severe and profound intellectual disability. And my point is, Taoiseach, you want to know our priorities? Last year we said pupil-teacher ratio, and we said capitation. Capitation is possible. What I believe it is absolutely now unsustainable for schools to survive and to meet their ongoing day-to-day running costs from the amount they're getting in capitation grant. It's a very simple point, and I think it's a valid point. You acknowledged it in your programme for government 3 years ago, but have not implemented it.